killed, and the person responsible has still not been identified.
But could modern forensic science finally pinpoint her killer after all of these years? WHNT News 19's Carson Clark joins us now with the latest on this story.
Carson, what could be done today that couldn't have been done back in the 70s?
Well, obviously 3 letters, and that's DNA. Now, when Joyce Drake was murdered, the practice of using DNA in criminal investigations was still about 15 years away. But now that's all changed, and it could be used to melt away the years of this murder in the snow.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
On the morning of January 10th, 1970, friends and family gathered on a snow-covered hillside in Coleman County to say goodbye. 20-year-old Joyce Drake, wife and mother of 2, who had been brutally stabbed 3 days earlier on a snowy hillside near Falkville, was laid to rest.
Always joking, had a lot of friends. She was a pretty girl. She had blonde hair.
For Pam Owens, Joyce's friend, those chilling events of January 1970 are frozen in her memory. Joyce made a trip to the bank on that snowy day for her father, who ran a store here in Coal Springs. We know that she made it here to the bank, but somewhere on her way home, a man got in the truck with her. Witnesses saw Joyce and the man go driving back past the store. The search crew would find Joyce's body almost 12 hours later on the side of a rural road, lying in the snow.
People were afraid because we didn't really know why. And we knew the person was still out there that had killed her, and he might kill again.
Hope for the community came from a headline in the Decatur Daily that proclaimed an arrest was near, but after months of investigation, that would never come.
We felt like victims too, because we loved her and we wanted justice. We wanted to know who did that and why. We wanted, the questions why. And, what was the motive, what really happened that day.
But was the identity of Joyce's killer buried with her body? Were clues staring investigators right in the face?
DNA is neat because, almost we hear DNA analysis and we think that it's been around forever just because it's so, incorporated into the common knowledge now.
Jason Linville is a professor of forensic science at the University of Alabama, Birmingham. He teaches students on how to collect DNA and other biological samples at crime scenes.
DNA analysis on the forensic side of things actually really didn't start until 1985, was at the very beginning.
15 years after Joyce Drake's killing, investigators and the doctors who performed Joyce Drake's autopsy didn't have DNA analysis to aid them, and that's a shame because most likely the area underneath Joyce's fingernails were coated in DNA, an unknown tool that would have screamed the killer's name.
We heard that there was red hair in her hands, and she did have skin under her fingernails, so evidently there was a struggle.
But that was 40 years ago. Joyce Drake's body has been underground for 4 decades now. Could there even be any clues left behind? The answer is maybe.
It's probably through the autopsy, through just preparation for burial, it's probably been cleaned enough to remove a lot of evidence.
But if she was buried with the killer's DNA still under her fingernails, Jason Linville says it's most likely still there.
DNA is pretty tough when it comes to lasting over time.
Joyce Drake's body was laid to rest, but her memory, the details of how she died, and the reality that her killer is still unknown, well, those facts live on. As Joyce Drake's body was lowered into the ground, her pastor said these words.
We know
Now, since our original story aired back in April, we have been in contact with Joyce Drake's husband, Randy. He doesn't want to talk on camera, but he did say he supports a new investigation into this case. Now, Lisa and Jerry, he also told us that if investigators wanted to exhume her body, that he would give them permission to do that.
Carson, I know you've been looking into the story for a while, and you've actually run into some resistance from some folks.
Yeah, that's almost a mystery within the mystery, is that a lot of the people that were associated with this case originally, none of them want to talk to us about it. We contacted a couple of investigators that worked it, and they absolutely refuse to talk about this case.
Well, we know you'll stay on top of this story and let us know what happens
That's
next.
right.
Thanks, Carson. Right now, Dan's updating your forecast. More wet weather ahead.
You'll find out in a little less than 2 minutes. That's straight ahead on WHNT News.